Welcome to Criminal Gines, a comedic true crime watch-along podcast where we watch Criminal Minds, all 15 seasons, and discuss the true crime that can be linked, however indirectly, to the episode. We're your hosts, Stacy Johnson and Veronica Shea. And this week, we're joined by Joseph Schles in discussing Season 2, Episode 6, The Boogeyman. Oh, shit, let me pull up my notes. Fuck me. Oh, God. Oh, my God, you guys.
So you're going to
Oh my god,
fill me in on the last 6 minutes of this show.
Yeah,
Yes, Legally Blonde.
I will, because, and
Stacey's
then I want you
gonna
to be
do
so
it.
surprised during
Great.
our recap.
So, we're here in episode 28 to talk about Season 2, episode... I didn't write it down. Hold
6?
on. Season 2,
6.
episode 6. Yes.
6.
Good job, everyone. The Boogeyman. All right. Well, so Stace, you want to tell us what happened in the episode?
Okay, so this is a to be continued episode where our recap ends with Elle shooting William Lee. Elle, I know, right? Drama. She gets pulled into Hotch's office where he tells her that her investigation into shooting him has concluded and the agency believed her baloney story that she did it in self-defense. He does tell her, though, that she needs a psych eval and she doesn't wanna, saying she's fine. He says, listen here, lady, you are going. The end. She's annoyed and she leaves the office. So now we're at a park with some kids telling a story of a boy getting chased in the woods and getting eaten by an old man who lives in a creepy house on a hill to some little kids. All the while, we see a little boy getting chased in the woods. Does anybody recognize the little girl? The little blonde girl?
I
Boom.
did.
Who is it? Pop quiz, Joseph.
I don't want to say I feel like it's a Fanning girl.
It is a Fanning girl. Is it
It's-
Dakota or Elle? It's Elle.
Elle. Yeah, I was going to say Elle
Elle
Fanning, but I was
Fanning.
like, oh my god, I don't want to mix them up.
Like, what if
Okay,
it's
you did a good
Dakota?
I panicked too, but
Side note, the best child actor in the show, clearly. I was kind of like, these other kid
my
actors are
God.
terrible. I was like, no wonder
I
she made it,
know.
and they have no idea who these boys
and
are.
they're not. Yeah, exactly. She's always been I've always
She's
really
great.
appreciated the Fanning's craft. Anyways.
Yeah, they're really good.
Yeah, exactly. So now we're back at the BAU where the little running boy is now dead and was beaten to death. Nick, I don't know why I laughed. Sorry. I just didn't do a really good transition. So here we are.
Well, he's a bad actor, so we know that he's really not. He's okay.
Yeah,
so-
exactly. Exactly. His name is Nicholas, and he's the second boy in the last 2 months. The first boy's name was Robbie. Both were murdered by the same offender who is hunting children. Hotch is then informed that Elle never showed up for her psych eval and isn't returning calls. After a little conference, Gideon tells Hotch to go find Elle while he goes to Texas with the case. Hotch is parked outside of Elle's place and is calling her. She is leaving her building with some clothes in a little baggie and sees his call. And then she trashes her cell phone.
I was like,
Like-
damn, expendable income.
I know,
Right?
for real. I was like, why are you getting rid of your cell phone? Like, just leave it at home.
Tracked. Well, that's
Yeah, but
fair.
like, leave it at home. She throws her phone away and she drives away in her car, and Hotch follows. The team is on the plane working to put together a profile when they get a call that the unsub has killed again, only this time it was a little girl. The team has split up once they got into Texas, where Gideon goes to the little boy's death place, and Reed and Morgan head to the little girl's place of death. They also discuss their fears, to which Derek states he is afraid of nothing. Reed is afraid of the
He's
dark.
a badass.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Reed himself is afraid of the dark, and JJ is afraid of dun 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 the woods. I have
Which
so
one?
much fun with these recaps.
I'm bad with names, by the way. Which one is the one who said he's not afraid of anything?
Shamar
Moore.
Oh, okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
Tall, dark, and handsome.
Yes. Got it.
Yeah. So Gideon states that the victim knew his killer and they trusted him enough to head into the deep woods, but the blunt force trauma was an act of rage. Over at the little girl's site, the coroner who is examining the body states that the unsub beat the victim
What's
post-mortem.
an unsub? Sorry.
Unsub
is an unknown subject.
Correct. So
It's
that's
ultimately the perpetrator, and they try to get away from saying he, or so they say the unsub.
So progressive.
The unknown subject. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So he states that
She lost her
paused. I lost my spot.
Sorry.
There it is. Okay, back to it. No, I like it when people interrupt me.
Okay,
It
good.
keeps me alive. Anyways, moving on. So the unsub's getting more bold. He's spending more time with the victims post-death. Then we kind of shift over to a town hall where the profile is being given, a small little profile. They state that this is someone that they will know who has lived in this small ass town for like their entire life, and that Nicholas's mom, one of the little boys who just died, pops up and she's like, "Hi, did you guys ever find this little red hat that he was wearing?" And they say no, they have not. There's also now too a mandatory curfew of 5 p.m. put into place. The kids also of the local school are getting taught about the buddy system by Derek and JJ and not to go anywhere alone. We see the same little boys at the beginning at Old Man Finnegan's house then, who eats lil kids, he says. And they're egging on one of the little boys to go a doorbell ditch to the creepy little house. Reluctantly, the little boy heads on up to the front door of this gorgeous brick home, by the way. But it's really old and yeah, it's gorgeous. But it's definitely clearly been like, yeah, for real.
I'll go ring the doorbell. Hey.
Yeah.
Hi. You're old, you're gonna die soon?
Yeah.
Right.
Where's the house going to?
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So at this point then, Hotch calls Gideon to let him know that he is following Elle and that she is on the run. The team is addressing the police, saying that the offender will most likely strike again and that they should be looking for someone who is physically fit and shy. He may be small and he may be small himself, and that even though they are saying it is a he, that they shouldn't rule out that it also could be a woman. Again, so progressive.
Unsub.
Question.
Yes.
Have you already gone over, or are you going to go over the Bundy part so that we can intro our buddy Bundy? I forgot.
No, I did not do that.
Okay.
Oh. I'm curious to hear about it.
In their profile, they mentioned that that specific kids, because they like to act out revenge, maybe like for what happened in their childhood, or they like pick a specific victim, and they mentioned Bundy and his ex-girlfriend, which led to his victimology because he was reliving killing her, even though he never killed her. That was like his focus of rage, which brings us to our buddy Bundy.
Beep, beep. So a bunch of kids are going missing and turning up dead, which means we've got a serial killer on our hands, folks. So the gang starts discussing why kids, what is the rhyme or reason for this, and in which the killer is trying to get revenge on a specific person, and so picks victims that remind them of that person so they can exact that revenge over and over and over on the person that they feel they've been wronged by. Buddy Bundy. So Ted Bundy went after very specific victims until the end of his reign of terror. His usual typical victim was a young college-age woman with long brown hair parted down the middle. He attacked women with this specific physical look because they resembled his ex-girlfriend, Diane Edwards. Who was Diane Edwards? Diane Edwards was Ted Bundy's ex-girlfriend in college. They dated for about a year or so and then broke up because she said he was not masculine enough, not macho enough, did not assert himself enough. So what did Ted Bundy do? He decided to change his major to philosophy, become a lawyer, started campaigning with politicians, became this impressive personality, and that got the attention of Diane Edwards again, which was Ted Bundy's plan the whole time. You see, he just wanted revenge on Diane. Diane was like, wow, you've changed so much. Like, oh my goodness. They started dating again, even talked about marriage, and then he broke it off with her. Like, he just started dating her again so he could fuck her over the way he felt so fucked over. So then they broke up again, and shortly after that is when he started his killing spree. And the rest is some really fucked up history. We'll say it once, we'll say it again. Fuck Ted Bundy.
Ta-da!
Right. I don't know if this is the right place to say it, but like, do you think, I'm watching this and, they're all sitting in the plane, right, discussing, which, by the way, I'm like, what is their budget that they all get to fly private to go to this case? I was like, yeah, in what precinct? I mean, like, anyway.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, like, when they're sitting there, like, discussing the case and being like, who could it be? And they're like, well, Bundy, blah, 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 and this is what he did. And a lot of times serial killers pick a victim based on... And I'm like, okay, everybody in this plane right now is an expert on this. So do you think they're all like, yeah, we know, Bill.
Yes.
You do this every time. We all know about Ted Bundy. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yes.
Completely. Like,
yes,
yeah.
Bill, we know.
Would you stop mansplaining Bundy to us, all right? We get it.
Give him some of those
him.
Airplane peanuts.
They have like a Bundy jar and they're like, put a 5 in, 5th time this week. Like,
exactly.
stop talking about Bundy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh my gosh, amazing.
Yeah. Oh, man. So, at this point, we see a very pregnant woman come in to the station with a little boy saying that her son Matthew never came home. The search team is initiated and the search is on. Gideon grills the guilty-looking little boy she has with her, and he gets him to spill the beans. I wrote that in all caps, so I knew to put some emphasis there. The little boy tells him about the dare that they did at the creepy house of getting the other kid who's missing to doorbell ditch, right?
Was that little boy even there?
Yeah, he was, but he ran away pretty quickly.
Oh, okay.
And then the team is flabbergasted. They are just now hearing about this old town legend where a man hunts little kids and eats them and whatnot. Like, the town sheriff was just like, oh yeah, there's this old town legend of this old man who hunts kids and eats them. And then
but we didn't think that was important to this case.
Yeah.
To be fair, in his defense, it probably isn't this guy because they're finding these little kids. If it was this guy, they'd be eaten.
Right.
Accurate. This guy sounds industrious. He sounds like
he's not going to leave his lunch laying out in the field. Yeah,
no. Exactly. Correct.
He's going to use all of the parts.
Yeah, so it can't be him. He eats the kids. Leave that guy alone.
Yeah, exactly. So, this is where we now head over to a graveyard. We're at a gravestone, and Elle is there apologizing to her father. Hotch appears and asks her what's going on, to which she states where she needed the team the most in her safe little home, they weren't there for her. He then asks her, I know, right? She's the worst.
But you know what? I was laughing a little bit because right at the beginning of that scene, he says something and she's like, you've been following me. And it's like, yeah, duh.
Yeah.
He's here.
Can't answer your damn calls.
Of course he's following you.
Yeah, anyway. Exactly.
And can I rewind on this subject for a second?
Absolutely.
This is obviously fictional because in real life, we know it's always a male cop who's going out and killing people. So I'm like, oh, must be some man writing this show, having the one woman cop go out and be the one who's murdering.
Yeah.
Anyway,
they were like, how the hell do we get this chick off of our fucking show? Let's have her kill somebody.
Right. Exactly. Anyway. So Hotch is like, blah, blah, blah. Like, you did this. Are you feeling guilty? He says that he doesn't have any evidence here that she did it without free will, blah, blah, blah. So what are they going to do about it, right? So then we're back into Texas with a team of cop cars headed out to the haunted house there in the dark. They go into the home. The lights are out. Reed agrees this certainly does look like a haunted house. Inside, the team is on the hunt for the little boy. There's no power to the home and it is dark, and Reed is shaking his little boot. Gideon and Reed are investigating a shed out back where they see a dead deer. Morgan and a policeman clear the house, and the missing boy is not there. They now know that he was there earlier in the day since he split. Outside, Reed and Gideon are still looking around, and then they find the missing boy who is not hurt, and the little boy was just hiding, and he says that he didn't want the old man to find him. Reed calls Garcia with information on the house, to which she really creeps him out with all the local lore, but none of the lore was substantiated. She was able to find, however, that Mr. Finnegan's wife did in fact go missing almost 50 years ago and was never found. Reed is shaking in his little sweater vest as we hear a door in the dark creak open, and Derek scares the crap out of him and pokes fun at him for being afraid in the dark. The team states that Finnegan is in the wind. After doing a quick search of the house, they come across some of the victims' belongings, including the little kid's lunch bag and the girl's backpack. attack. The team says that Finnegan is luring the victims to his house before taking them to the woods, and then these are his little trophies. Derek says that he would love to hang his head on a wall and all blah, blah, blah. So the officers are searching the grounds, and they come across a bear trap that goes off, and they find old man Finnegan's body dead and covered in the leaves. The drama.
Twist.
I know. The coroner... I love it. The coroner states that the body had been out there for like a week and that he died of natural causes while most likely setting up the bear trap. He wasn't nice during this, saying that karma is a bitch and that the coyotes had been gnawing on him while he was out there. And he
karma is a bitch. Don't attack the bears.
I guess.
Attack a bear, die.
I feel very strongly about that myself.
Yeah,
leave the bears
as
alone.
A bear, as one of the bear community, I don't think we need to be attacking Joseph and his people.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I am an ally.
What a great ally. Yeah.
Oh my God. So, because the body's been out there for that long, we just know that Finnegan couldn't have done the second two murders for sure. We're back to square one. Reed and Derek and all them, they're kind of hanging out at the house. Reed says everyone assumed that Finnegan's wife was dead, but that she had actually left him many years before, and he discovered this by reading the old man's journal entries. He never...
Did this man not have friends? Because, wouldn't there be one, a neighbor who was like, yeah, dude, she left with the pharmacist, and they're, banging boots down the way.
Well,
no, apparently he didn't have friends. Yeah, he could have been a dick. But because after that, he turned into a recluse, and the town never understood him. So... Here we are.
Maybe they were mad at him for being so rich. They're like, oh, that asshole with that nice ass house.
Oh, you know what? That's probably the case.
Himself.
Yeah, exactly. So in the kitchen, the team discovers that there were a ton of Meals on Wheels left at the house that were being used, and they were delivered long after old man Finnegan had died. This is where he's been eating and surviving off of these things, whatever the unsub was surviving off of this food. Oddly enough, though, he would eat everything but the cream spinach, which would be wrapped in duct tape and thrown away, which is odd, right?
Yeah, but I wouldn't eat the creamed spinach either.
Yeah, but would you wrap it in duct tape? I liked cream spinach.
Well, also, maybe you wouldn't eat the cream spinach, but that old man definitely would.
Right.
That's true.
Exactly.
That's true.
So Derek asks JJ why she's afraid of the woods. She tells a story of her being a camp counselor, finding a dead body where it was stabbed, and that's why she's afraid of the woods. And Derek is like, holy crap, are you serious? And this is crazy. And she's like, no, you dummy. No, that's not real. I'm just afraid of the woods. And they all have a laugh, and Derek says payback is a bitch. Right? Garcia calls. Exactly.
Everything's a bitch.
Totally. Yeah. Garcia calls and lets Derek know that she's got some prints off of one of the food trays. There's two sets of prints. One of them was a child's, and she's trying to find a match to it. And one of the prints was a match for the local guidance counselor, James Charles, who was addressing the town hall earlier.
James also a famous makeup artist.
Exactly.
Who's
famous
always,
or is he infamous now?
I was just going to say who's always in the middle of some controversy. I don't know. I never know where we stand on James Charles.
I never know either. But oddly enough, now don't we stand... Well, who's the other famous makeup artist?
Jeffree Star. Who's also...
Aren't we all on good terms? I don't
I don't think so. Jeffree Star... They're both very inflammatory.
Wasn't he the Free Britney?
No,
Leave Britney alone.
That was formerly Chris Colfer, who has a new name now that I don't know because she has transitioned.
Yes, and I can't remember her name.
But she's not a makeup artist. She's just a personality.
She's just an influencer. Yeah.
And I don't think there's any controversy with her. We love her.
Correct. Yeah, right. I think she's very great.
I don't keep up, but anyway.
I clearly don't. I was like, that's Jeffree Star, right? I don't know.
Right.
Oh, and also, I think I said Chris Colfer, who is not that name, because I think that
that's the guy from Glee.
The guy from Glee.
We'll cut this out. None of us know anything.
Chris.
We're just naming gay people.
No, it's Chris something. I know it's Chris something, but to be continued.
Anyway.
So the team's rushing over to the counselor's house. They see him trying to leave, and they Derek tackles him. Ooh, and this
very
is where
dramatic.
It was a moment. And then this is where they find a red hat in the guy's duffel bag, and they know that this is the same hat that Nicholas Faye's mom asked about. So they're like, "Why?
Because there is only one red hat in the world."
Yeah,
this is pre-Trump, so
yeah, so true.
So it's harder to buy red hats.
This
Yeah. So then we go to like an interrogation room. Derek is really laying it on thick and is getting nowhere, and he's pulling out.
I know it was intense.
Yeah,
part of me was like, okay, dude, we get it.
Yeah, exactly. Like he was insulting everything. Like he was really laying it into him, and nothing is working until he decided to insult his sexual prowess, and that struck a nerve on him. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, are you a Minuteman? Which, by the way, I don't think it's a bad thing. But
yeah,
for me, anyway, I'm like, I want to get this over with.
I don't have all day. I have to go grocery shopping, and there's a lot of TV to watch.
I really need to go to Trader Joe's.
Exactly. Anyways, but he's like, I'm not a Minuteman. I go, okay. Methinks the lady doth protest too much.
Yeah, for real. So
the argument didn't even last that long. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
My God.
We've gone off the rails.
Oh my God. We have. We're just getting through the recap.
Okay.
So Garcia calls to tell him that the second set of prints at the scene was not any of the victims and that there is another unsub out there.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, ta-da. JJ's also calling the school to pick up the counselor's little kid because the mom's dead and the dad's in jail. So now she's got to go pick up the kid, right? Well, they find out that he never showed up for school and said his dad said that he was sick. They tell Derek and he runs with this. They see the team head over to the counselor's house. They're searching the premises and Reed finds an EpiPen and a fridge full of dairy products that have been sealed up with duct tape. Remind anybody of anything? The creamed spinach. I know. Gideon pops into the interrogation room and he speaks with the unsub. I love this little moment because he's like, hey, I'm going to take the nice cop approach. I'm going to offer him some coffee with milk. And then I know.
Milk is always like such a... But it just makes me think of that movie Inglourious Bastards. Did you see that movie?
Yes.
There's that whole scene about milk, remember?
With Christoph Waltz in the beginning.
So intense. Mm-hmm. So I feel like milk is just a big thing for screenwriters. Hiding under the floorboards. Yeah, exactly.
Right. So then we find out that we know that he asks him how long has he known the son was a murderer. Then we transition back over and we see some kids with the young, fabulous Elle Fanning getting off the bus. To anybody. Okay. And that's the only time we see him. So he's like, hey, I'm going to offer to walk this little girl home. And he's got a bat with him. And he says, hey, I know a shortcut. And she's like, okay. The sheriff bursts in and he says that a little girl has been reported missing and the team is on the move. But then we see Jeffrey chasing her and being an a-hole to the little girl. And he's trying to attack her and she escapes by kicking him in the leg. The team heads to the bus stop.
Get him in the shin, girl.
Exactly. And she's like running at this point.
When he throws her backpack, what a dick.
I know.
Young love.
This is where she should have known, right?
Yeah.
So the team comes to the conclusion that the boy is killing the kids because they have what he wants, a happy little family. And they are on the run. They're trying to find him. The team is able to find the kids because the little girl is screaming her head off, which is smart little girl. Gideon tackle, he apprehends the little boy. And that I wrote, it should be noted that he is an angry little ginger.
If we
really
didn't
was.
paint the picture for you, he
Yeah.
is an angry little ginger.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and then Gideon, they're sitting in the back of the car and he asks, hey, why did you hurt those little kids? And the little kid, Jeffrey, is like, because I wanted to. And like, that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So,
can't
yeah.
argue with that.
Yep. So now we're done. The team is headed back. Gideon's on the phone with Hotch asking about Elle, to which she appears into Gideon's office. She asks him to tell Gideon. She says goodbye. She's turning in her badge and gun, and she's like, hey, this is not an admission of guilt, but I'm out. I can't do this anymore. She is gone, and we are done with her. And that's the episode.
Thank God she's gone. Why wouldn't you just ask for like a transfer to a different unit?
Yeah, I know. Right.
Well, you know.
Maybe she did. I don't really know. Who cares? She's done.
Maybe she realized she's not cut out for this line of work.
That's right.
You
Yeah.
know? I don't know.
I hate her.
Is this her last episode?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
More
wow.
Elle.
Yeah,
Interesting.
thank God.
I wonder what happened in real life with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you think she
I
just
don't
wasn't
know.
like, she
No, I
wasn't
think she was
doing
just
well
a
with
terrible
viewers? So they were
actress.
like, we got to get you out of here.
I think so. I think the
Probably.
fans didn't like her. I'm going to try
Her
to ask
ratings
people
were
who worked
really
on the
low.
show.
Yeah. DM her. Be like, hey, girl, what happened?
Hi.
What happened
Hi,
in season
I
2,
know we've
episode
talked
6?
so much trash about you, but what's up?
Don't listen
But
to our
what's the actual
podcast.
story?
We love you, girl.
We love you. Justice for Elle.
Which, by the way, would probably be the most effective way to get her to listen to your podcast. Like, if you reached out and you're like, listen to our podcast, she would never. But if you're like, hey, don't listen to this, she'd be like, I'm curious.
She'd be like,
We super love you. Okay, bye.
oh my God, that's stressful.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so our Morgan, though, he was very moody
Shamar
broody for this episode.
Very moody.
Very moody, don't you think? I thought he was.
Yeah, he was moody. I thought it's interesting that they were like talking about, you know, these little kids getting murdered, and he felt very flirty to me. He was like, I'm not afraid of anything. I was like, are you flirting with her in the plane right now? What's happening?
Gimme more.
I mean, oh, God. Yeah. So we all got this guy.
Yes.
Ooh, so cute. I like this one.
Got a mid-laugh. Oh, Stacy's gonna...
I'm starting us off. I'm giving him a 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Joseph's like, we always know what I give him.
I know. I think I said it the last time.
Yeah. I'll also give him a 5.
Oh my God. It's a 1 for me.
He's-
No, I'm just kidding. Definitely a 5 always.
It's a 0, obviously.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine giving him less, personally.
I like this one because he's laughing. And he's like, ha ha ha. Just like that.
In the photo, yeah.
Yeah.
In the episode, he's very intense.
He's very into, and every like photo I was taking, I was like, these all look the same. They're just his like mean face.
Yeah.
And then I finally got him laughing at JJ's stupid story that she like went on forever. I was like, girl, you are hamming it up. Like, well, I don't need that. Get to the end. And she's just like giving them the plot for like Friday the 13th.
Right.
All right, perfect Shamar score.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you not? He's so.
I don't know. I'm just
handsome.
looking at his teeth.
He's
got
really good
teeth.
caps. They're good.
He
Yeah.
has good everything. There's nothing. Actually, I want to take away points because he's flawless. I'm angry.
I went from perfect to I hope he dies. Okay. It's fine.
Like, hey. No, he's such a cutie. He's very handsome, and he gets a 5
Yeah.
from me every time. Which, you know, not to be boring to people who have listened to my other podcast episode here, but
Yeah.
just foreshadowing. I'm always going to give him a 5.
Yeah. If Joseph's on, it's going to be a 5.
Yeah.
Well, we can just skip the segment altogether.
No, I like it. I want to say it every time.
Okay, well, we know how much you love horror and true crime and all things dark and gory and scary.
That's not true.
So we're
but-
very excited to horrify you
Oh,
with
no.
Mary Bell.
You know, this is tough for me because I'm always going to be on the side of a woman, right? Like, I'm like,
Sure.
I want equality. I hear about a little girl.
In Northumberland, England, to Betty Bell, her mother, who was a well-known prostitute who traveled for work. And she would always just like leave the kids in the care of their father, who was sometimes there, sometimes not, Billy Bell.
Billy.
Wow.
So
Bill.
Billy and Betty Bell
This is wild.
Billy Betty Bell. That's really hard to say. Billy and Betty Bell.
Billy and Betty
can't.
Bell. They should have named Mary like Beth or something. Beth Bell.
Right?
But
well, Elizabeth
this is where they went
Bell's the
wrong.
mom. Yeah, this is clearly it. So she was number 2, but it's like unclear if Billy was her biological dad or not. He was definitely her stepdad. But he was a violent alcoholic, a habitual criminal. She was very much an unwanted kid. Like, I think her mom probably had postpartum because when they tried to like give her to her as a baby, she was like, I don't want to see her. Like, I don't want to talk to her. I don't want to touch her. Like, get her out of here as an infant.
Dang.
So she ended up going home with her. And as a baby, a toddler, and a young child, she kept being involved in these like household accidents when she was alone with her mom. So everyone was like, either this woman is just like the worst mother, or she's purposefully trying to harm her child. Like, this is too weird.
Which, again, would make her the worst mother.
The worst mother.
So in either scenario, she's the worst mother.
She's the worst. Although now people think that she might have had Munchausen by proxy, where you like make a member of your family sick and then you get attention that way.
Yeah.
Either way, not a good situation for anybody.
Oh.
But this poor girl, Mary, was once dropped like from a first floor window when she was a baby. Her mom like dropped her out the window. She took a bunch of sleeping pills, whether by herself or her mother, like, and she had to get her stomach pumped.
Did I ever tell you I jumped out of a 2-story window?
No.
Yes, Stacy.
I did. I was 4.
Oh.
And I jumped out of a 2-story window, broke my hip, was in a body cast for a while.
Oh my God. I was gonna say, like, if since you were so young, it maybe be like a little bit more bouncy, you know? But
No,
I guess not.
It wasn't.
Yikes.
Shattered.
Yeah.
Does your hip still like hurt to this day?
Yeah, it's all kind of wonky to this day.
Damn.
I'm gonna send Veronica a photo of it, of me and my body cast when I was little, so she can post it on this thing.
I was like, your hip? You don't have to send me a picture of your
photo
hip.
of my
I'm sending you a photo of my hip.
Just like close up.
Your hips do lie. At least her mom only dropped her out of the first floor.
That's kind of what I was thinking too.
That's still
But that
like,
makes me. I must assume they only lived in a 1-story house.
they lived in like a real up and coming neighborhood, we'll call it. It was being like torn down and rebuilt, and so there was just like tenement.
Well, here's the thing:
slum.
they either lived in a 1-story house and she dropped her out the window, or they lived in a 2-story house. In which case, the mom did a nice thing by not bringing her upstairs first.
That's
If you're gonna drop her out of the window.
so. Is she the worst mom or a thoughtful mom? You know,
I'm saying that. She's getting some points.
she's coming back up.
She's a something.
The mom, though, even like gave her away to like a mentally ill woman who was like emigrating to Australia.
Jeez, it's like one mentally ill woman to another.
To another, and the older sister had to go like get her back.
Oh, there's another kid. She has a sister.
There's a few kids. They only talk about her older sister though.
Oh, okay.
So woof.
Yikes! What a terrible childhood. I feel so bad.
I know. Well, it gets worse. As so, the mom, as a prostitute, of course it does, specialized in sadomasochism play.
Okay, she's a little dominatrix.
Yes, she is a dominatrix. And not to kink shame anyone, but she began allowing and encouraging several of her clients to sexually abuse her daughter in their S&M sessions.
We can kink shame that. That is a kink we can shame.
Can we?
Openly.
That is
Great.
Yeah.
Yes. What do you mean, Stacy?
That is an unacceptable kink.
We're just making sure.
Yeah.
Just making sure. I don't know the rules. I'm just
the
asking.
poor little girl. That's really horrible. That's horrible.
So, shocking no one, Mary began exhibiting signs of disturbed and unpredictable behavior, such as mood swings and chronic bedwetting.
Yeah.
She would get in fights with other children. She attempted to strangle and suffocate her classmates on several occasions.
Jeez.
Right. And one of the case experts has said that this is possibly because she would have seen choke play in the S&M sessions. Maybe. That isn't, but they think that could possibly be where she got the idea.
A theory.
Ultimately, she just really kind of became violent, and her classmates learned the signs that preempted her violent outbursts, which would include like shaking her head and just having like a really steely glare. And then they were like, we knew we had to get out of there. And whoever she was like glaring at was about to get attacked.
Dang.
So she began spending a lot of her free time with Norma Bell, no relation, who lived next door to her and was a couple years older.
It's so many bells.
Where are all these
So many bells.
Do you think they're related to the Bay Bell family?
Yes, I think these are the
family?
cheese heiresses.
I mean, do they have any other last names in this town?
I don't know.
Everybody's a bell
got
there.
Around.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Where is this town? In Kentucky?
In Northumberland.
I don't know where
What's
that is.
In England.
Oh.
Yes.
And what years are we in now?
Children.
We're in like the 50s?
Yeah, so she was born in 57. We are now,
now
entering
we're in the
1968.
Hmm.
May 11th, 1968.
Oh, almost her birthday.
Correct. Almost her birthday.
So now she's 11, I guess. About
10. She's 10.
Okay.
A 3-year-old boy was found wandering, and he was like confused. He had a huge like laceration on his head, and he was bleeding. And Mary and Norma said that they had found him out in the woods and that he had fallen. He was Mary's cousin.
Hmm.
And he told the police that he had been pushed from the top of like a disused air raid shelter. And it was like 7 feet high, but he wasn't sure which one had pushed him. And they were like, we absolutely did not push him. He is confused. We found him on the ground, bleeding. We're heroes. We have brought him to you for help. That same night, parents of 3 small girls called the police to complain that Mary and Norma had tried to strangle their kids while playing out in like a sand pit. Mary was like, I wasn't involved in any of this shit. And Norma was like, we saved the boy. But Mary...
I just like to picture Mary actually saying that. I wasn't involved in any of this shit. This little 10-year-old girl.
I wasn't involved in any of this shit.
And Norma was like, Mary definitely was like strangled these girls. Mary went up to the girls and said, what happens if you choke someone? Do they die? And then Mary choked her. And the girl started to go purple.
Oh my God.
And then Norma was like, I told Mary to stop, but she just wouldn't. And then she put her hands around Pauline's throat and she started going purple as well. And then the other girl, Susan, came up and Mary did the same thing to her. First of all, ladies, are we lining up to be throttled? Like
that's true. I was just like,
get
one
her
after
off.
another? Yeah.
What is happening?
Yeah.
And they're like letting her do this long enough to
women.
let these kids turn purple, and they're all just like watching.
Yeah.
Your
And then they're
turn.
like, okay, me next? Like, what's happening?
It's like Mary had a little problem with choking other kids.
And
that worked out surprisingly well.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But because of their ages, they were just like given warnings. And we're like, okay,
Right.
cool.
Don't do that again, even though you just did it 3 times
Again.
in a row.
Yeah. Plus the small boy
Plus the
got
kid you
attacked.
found in the woods.
Yeah. Good
Must
God.
be coincidence.
So, a few weeks later, the day before her 11th birthday, Mary strangled a 4-year-old boy named Martin. 3 children found him with just like a few specks of blood and like foam around his mouth. There was an empty pill bottle nearby. There was no signs of violence. A workman had come and like attempted CPR, but I mean, he was long gone. But while that was happening, Mary and Norma popped in and they were like, hey, what's up? And he was like, go away, go get help. And so then they went to Martin's aunt's house to tell her that, and this is a quote because they use language. One of your sister's bairns has just had an accident. We think it's Martin, but we can't tell because there's blood all over him. So they like went to go spread the news.
What's a bairn?
A bairn is like a small child. And from what I know, it's Scottish for
Yeah.
like
Okay. Oh, right there in
baby.
England.
A wee
Got
bairn.
it.
Yeah. So I thought it was funny though that I'm like, oh, cute. I mean, not cute, but like cute.
Mhm.
So the coroner ultimately can't tell what happened. There's like no strangulation marks. Did he overdose? We don't know. They really kind of chalked it up to an accident ultimately in the beginning. The next day, Mary and Norma broke into a nursery and vandalized it. They just completely trashed the place and they like wrote on the walls and there were handwritten notes about murder and like really bad language. But one of the notes said, I murder so that I may come back. And another one said, we did murder Martin Brown. Fuck off, you bastard. And then the other 2 have slurs for gay men in it. So I'm not going to.
Yes. I can say it.
Can you say it with gay affect?
I mean, I can. I'm allowed.
You
We
can
have
do it?
carte
Okay,
blanche
I'm going
for
to
that.
text these.
But I mean, I don't know. Well, I'll just read it real quick. Ooh, I'm gonna say the word, okay? Trigger warning. Okay.
Trigger warning.
Fuck off. We murder. Watch out, Fanny and faggot. You are mice. And because we
This
murdered
is the
Martin...
spellings.
Oh, it's
all
spelled out crazy. Okay. Because we murdered Martin Go Brown, you better look out there. Our murder's about by Fanny and odd faggot you screws.
What's a fanny? Is it like, are they trying to say ass?
Well, I think fanny in England is vagina.
Or your front fanny?
It's your vag. Your front fanny.
Your front butt.
It's your gine. Your criminal gine.
Yes.
It comes full circle. That's the episode.
Oh my gosh, you did this and then it like, did anyone else see that? I saw that.
No.
It put like a little bubble with a thumbs up in it. I wonder if it'll be in the episode.
Does it do it again?
Do it again?
No,
What is that?
Yours
I don't know.
does it.
What else
Why
can I
does
do?
mine not do it? Now we're just... Oh my god!
I'm trying to think
maybe
of
it's
other
'cause you're
fun
on-
signals.
Maybe it's because you're on your phone. It's the new update.
Maybe. What else can you do? I'm just trying to think of hand signals. Yeah.
Heart? Try
I'm
heart?
really stressed how to get that poop emoji up.
Oh my god.
Please don't poop, Stacy. Oh my gosh. Okay. Back to... Oh, you did hearts! Did you see it?
I did?
I did
No.
see it.
Yes, do it again.
Do it again.
Oh, I see! Technology!
We are the
funny.
most boomer people.
That was cute, though.
Oh my gosh.
This
Okay.
is fun.
Yeah, that is fun.
And that's the episode, guys. Thanks for coming on. Okay. We're laughing too much. Children are dying. Let's put this seriously.
Back to it.
Back to it.
Children killing children.
I mean, honestly, refreshing from like creepy men killing children.
Honestly, yeah.
Okay, so Martin's funeral, the girls called his mom on the phone to ask to see him. And the mom was like, you can't, he's dead.
Yeah.
Mary was like, oh, I know he's dead. I wanted to see him in his coffin. And she was like, LOL, no. And she literally just like chalked it up to kids being like curious kind of a thing. Like, what a time.
Yeah, I mean, which, you know, I get, because kids are curious, but, you know, also, like, this girl, I mean, she's got some suspicions stacking up against her.
Yeah, this girl's sus.
Yeah.
So, on July 31st, 1968, this is all happening very quickly now, a 3-year-old, Brian Howe, went missing. He had been playing with one of his siblings, their dog, and Mary and Norma. Recipe for disaster.
Damn.
He was discovered very late that night, and the first cop on the scene noted that someone had tried to kind of cover him up with like weeds and grass, but not well at all. His lips had already turned blue. There were several bruises and scratches around his neck. There was a pair of broken scissors laying at his feet. His body had been mutilated in kind of an experimental way. The coroner concluded that the cause of death was strangulation. He had been stabbed, his hair had been cut, and there was like kind of a crude M carved into his stomach. Yeah, and based on just kind of the small amount of force that was obviously used to kill him, the coroner concluded that the killer must also be a child.
Dang.
And they had found gray and maroon fibers on the body.
Mm-hmm.
So this had quite a bit more evidence than the first killing.
Mm-hmm.
And it launched a very large-scale manhunt.
Isn't it crazy to think that, like, how far we've come and advanced in, like, forensics, to think that a tiny fiber from a piece of clothing could put you away? Like, it's crazy to think how far advanced we are. Anyways, keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, over the next 2 days, 100 detectives would be assigned to the case, and more than 1,200 children were questioned. Yeah. Just resources.
Really hoping a surprised emoji would pop up.
That's a lot, though. And I'm just kind of like, nobody was like, I wonder if it's this chick Mary who keeps being around all these murders, and there is the letter M carved on this boy's chest. But let's interview 1,200 kids.
Right?
But also fine.
A lot of kids were like, but this one is violent. Like, this one's
They're
kind
like,
of
have
mean.
you know Mary, the
talked to
one that
this
we
one?
all know her telltale signs of when she's going to get violent?
Hello.
And they're like,
This one.
we're not sure.
They're like, we'll get to her. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So they questioned Mary and Norma on the first day, and they were both just like very evasive and contradictory in their stories, but ultimately both did admit to having played with Brian on the day of his death, but they were both like, but we didn't see him after lunch, so who knows? Mary then tried to like throw suspicion onto this other like 8-year-old boy, saying that she had seen him playing with Brian and that he had been hitting him. And she went on to say that this 8-year-old was covered in grass and weeds, like he had been rolling through a field, and that he had been carrying a pair of broken scissors, trying to cut off a cat's tail. And they questioned the boy, but he had like an alibi. He was like out of town with his parents.
He's like, literally what?
Yeah, he was like, was not here.
I don't know. What
Could not have been involved.
And then Mary's over the corner like, fuck.
Yeah. And so the detectives are like, we're the only people who know about the scissors being found. So we think it's this bitch. Yeah.
Dang.
So then they like go back to talk to her, and she's very defensive. And every time they ask a question, this like 11-year-old is like, no comment. No comment.
Dang.
Like, ma'am, what? So then on August 4th, so this will be 3 days after the first time that they talked to her, Norma's parents brought Norma back in to tell the police what she knew about Brian's murder. And she told them that Mary had brought her to see Brian's body and showed her how she strangled him. And she said that Mary had confessed to her that she liked strangling people and how she had made the M mark on his stomach with a razor blade that she had hidden at the scene. And then she took cops to show where it was hidden. So she was like definitely there without a doubt. She would then later give another statement admitting that she was present with Mary when she strangled Brian.
Dang.
And said that Mary seemed to, quote unquote, go all funny, then pushed Brian into the grass and began strangling him before saying, my hands are getting thick, take over. At which point, I guess then Norma started strangling him. She tried to say that like, oh, I ran away at that point, and when I came back, he was dead.
Mm-hmm.
But they examined clothing from both of the girls, and they found that the maroon fibers matched a skirt that Norma had, and the gray fibers matched a dress owned by Mary. And the gray fibers were also found on the first body, Martin Brown.
Dang.
So now Mary's been connected to both.
Wow. Well, good.
So while all this is happening, Brian's getting buried on August 7th, 1968. And as they're bringing his little coffin from the home, Mary is just like standing on the corner watching and laughing. And the cop was like, oh, we need to arrest her immediately. Like, we can't wait for a plan on how to deal with kids. Yeah. It's like she's just like yucking it up.
Yeah, she can't be around.
No, it's like, let's get them off the streets. She's going to do this again. Both of the girls were charged with murder for Brian, and Mary prepared a written statement admitting that she was there, but insisted the murder was carried out by Norma.
Dang,
and she had also,
turning on your friends.
Yeah, they're just like pointing fingers at each other. But Mary had also admitted to the nursery vandalism. So they've now been able to tie them to that. Both girls underwent psychological evaluations, finally. And they found that Norma was intellectually delayed, and she was a submissive character who easily displayed emotion. So although she was older than Mary, not mentally.
Right.
Yeah.
So Mary is the more conniving one. Clearly.
Yes. They found that Mary was bright and cunning, prone to mood swings. The 4 psychiatrists who examined Mary determined that she suffered from a psychopathic personality disorder.
Dang.
So that's fun.
Man. Yikes. I mean, it's horrible. It's like, it's so horrible, but it's almost kind of like, well, I can understand after hearing about her upbringing and how horrible that was. You know what I mean?
How old was she when she was diagnosed at this point?
11.
11.
Yeah. Both girls pled not guilty in court, and during each of their testimony, they just placed blame on the other one. It was all the other one's fault.
Yeah.
And then Norma's mom testified that several months prior to the murder of Brian Howe, she and her husband had discovered Mary trying to strangle Norma's younger sister. And it wasn't until the husband punched Mary that she finally let go of their daughter.
And they still let them hang out?
Yes.
Ay, ay, ay.
Norma's also one of 11. So maybe they thought they could like,
Oh,
they had spares. Maybe. I don't know. Like,
dang.
it's wild. The trial lasted for 9 days. The jury deliberated for 3 hours and 25 minutes. Mary Bell was cleared of murder, but was convicted of manslaughter for both of the boys on the grounds of diminished responsibility. Basically saying she's kind of too young to really be charged with murder.
I guess, but also
I know. She liked it, though. I don't know. Norma Bell was acquitted of all charges.
Okay.
They were just like, this was a Mary problem.
Yeah, it does sound a little bit like Norma. Wrong place, wrong time. Although, like, Norma, you should have, like, done something. But whatever, she's a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So Mary was sentenced to be detained at Her Majesty's pleasure. And I was like, what is that?
What does that mean?
What does it mean?
It's a legal term. And it can be His Majesty's pleasure, you know, obviously now with Charles on the throne.
Oh, yeah.
It's a legal term. Right? We all tried to. It's a legal term referring to the indeterminate length of service of certain appointed officials or the indeterminate sentences of some prisoners. So it's like as long as they want you to be serving your post or in prison, that's where you're.
So it's just kind of like, we're not going to pick a number. We're going to put you in there until we don't want to have you in there anymore.
Correct.
Okay.
At the time of her conviction, she was 11 years and 6 months old, making her Britain's youngest female killer, a title which she still holds to this day.
Wow.
Damn.
Yeah.
So what happened with her in the long run?
So
are we getting to that? Sorry.
She was moved from prison to prison. At one point, she escaped with a friend. They were like, bye, yeah. But then they were returned to custody, and they were like, okay, we need to prepare her to rejoin society. And so they taught her like how to be a secretary, how to like to do some jobs.
Sexist.
I mean, secretary, also, strangle, you know, let's not give her sharp objects, you know.
Exactly. We already know she's not to be trusted with a pair of scissors. Exactly.
Yeah. No seamstressing, no cooking, nothing around. No. So in 1980, at 23 years old, she was finally released from custody.
Okay.
Yeah. She was given an assumed identity so that she could try and go live a normal life. And the courts ordered anonymity. So basically like witness protection, where she goes and she's a different person and she gets to like redo. In 1984, she gave birth to a daughter, and the anonymity was
broken.
No, it was passed on to the daughter as well, and they ruled that it should be lifelong because usually it's only until like 18. So basically, no one can like go and look for her. They were found once, and there was like a media frenzy, and they had to relocate them and give them a different identity. Again.
Oh,
so people were trying to like continue.
When they were found the one time, where were they?
They were
at a Starbucks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just
kidding. They were at Starbucks.
Hopefully, that'd be the best case scenario.
She was actually. Let me go see where she was.
Yeah,
she was.
Maybe it's not that important. I'm just curious.
Well, yeah, let's find out. And she's written a book.
I was trying to make more pop up, but they're not there for you. Did that
balloons!
This is
That's
so
cool.
fun.
What else can you do? I don't know.
So she was in a resort town on the Sussex coast when she had been found. And she'd been there for about 18 months.
Okay.
Oh, wait, no. She'd been living there for 18 months. And it forced Mary and her 14-year-old daughter to leave their house and go to a safe house with undercover officers. And then they were relocated to another part of the UK.
Okay. And this was in the 80s? Do we know where she's at today? Or like, no. I guess we don't know exactly where she's at, but...
Her whereabouts are unknown and remain protected. She has worked with, I believe, a journalist to write a book about her experience. So there is a book that you can read.
Interesting.
She does not claim to be wrongly convicted at all. She's not one of those people who was like, I was innocent. She says that the abuse she suffered as a child should not excuse her crimes.
Okay. Sounds like she's made some progress.
It does seem like she has rehabilitated and has learned to work with her psychopathy, and her daughter is safe.
Yeah, I mean, you know, she is clever.
It's true.
But hopefully she's being honest, and as long as, I guess, there's been no more murders around her that we know about, that's good. I wonder how her kid is.
Yeah, do you think her kid has ever found out? Could you imagine, like, Veronica?
So she found out when she was 14, when they had to relocate. That's how her kid found out.
Could you imagine, like, your mom coming in and being like, hey, we gotta go, and you're like, my whole world is turned upside down because I just found out my mom was a crazy murderer.
I know.
Also, at that age, at 14, you're already, like, at odds with your mom. I think, at least from my experience. And so imagine being like, Mom, I'm going out with my friends. And it's like, no, you're not. You have to do your homework. And you're like, you killed little boys. And she's like, okay, go out with your friends.
Okay. We'll talk about this later.
All right, fine.
If I was that mom and she was like, you killed little boys, and be like, and I can kill little girls too. Try me. Go do your homework.
Right? She's like, I pressed 9-1. Don't make me push 1. I'll do it.
That's so good.
Wow. Well, I mean, I was just curious about like how her daughter got raised and if she turned out to be okay, if she turned out to be a good mom, you know what I mean? I'm curious about those things, but
I mean, it seems it, because I would think that if like there was any more criminal action, it probably would have reopened all of her shit and like
that's true.
You know, like the anonymity is contingent on you don't kill people.
Yeah,
right.
I think so. I think that would reopen your identity.
That's a horrible story, and I feel so sad for the little boys that she killed. But I'm happy to hear that she was like rehabilitated at least and seems to be living a moderately okay life as an adult.
Right. It makes me wonder too, like what their rehabilitation program was like, because like obviously if it was successful in that sense, like I would think that you would want to share it.
Yeah.
Well, I think we do this kind of stuff a lot for prisoners, right? They like get a lot of therapy. They have a lot of. Well, yes. I do think that there's a lot of people who come out of prison who like really changed their viewpoints, and I think the whole experience of
it. But mostly
I don't know about
on their
murderers.
Volition.
But anyway.
She was like passed from like wayward home to wayward home. Very few prisons were really involved because of her age.
Oh yeah,
I see.
So I think that helped.
Like being surrounded by your peers and stuff.
Yeah, and like teachers and counselors as opposed to hardened criminals. I mean, she escaped and they were like, come on back. And it didn't like add time. Well, there was no number. So, but it was like, oh, she's a teenager and rebelling. Because I think it was when she was like 16. She like made a run for it with her friend.
Fair. Wow. I've definitely done that.
Yeah, but they like went out and like picked up a couple guys and like went out on the town. So they like went out on a date and then they came back. Well, they were found and brought back the next day.
Okay. So it sounded like they went out and did bad shit.
More crime. Yeah, exactly.
More strangling.
Dang. Wow.
That's Mary Bell, the infamous Mary Bell.
And that was related to the episode because of little kid killers?
Little kid killers.
Yeah.
As you do. Dang. Also, she didn't like creamed spinach, I'm assuming.
Can you imagine?
That's like
at first I believed you for a second. I was like, how did you know?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, she wrote that on the wall. We just didn't read that line.
Yeah.
I love cream spinach. I was so sad when the local Boston market went out of business here.
I was just going to say Boston market was like the only one I liked.
Exactly. And it's no longer here in Reno. And I'm so sad because I like their cream spinach.
Does it exist anywhere anymore? Boston market?
I don't know.
Because they also had the best like sweet potatoes, candied yams, whatever.
Really good
there.
Yeah.
Or sponsor us.
Or
if you're
sponsor us.
All right. Sponsored by Boston Market.
Oh my
Get your cream spinach.
Perfect.
I love that. I really do love cream spinach.
You're not going to throw our cream spinach away in the garbage wrapped in duct tape. Ding.
You're having too much fun.
Veronica, I don't think you saw this one.
Balloons!
What?
I know. I'm trying to. I can't think of what else you can even do. Pray hands? No.
No.
What about like exciting?
Anyway. Yeah. No.
And then now we just look like a bunch of nerds.
Do you have anything for the end of the year, or do you just want to plug yourself?
I mean, I'm doing a handful of shows around town, but
Ooh. Well, you just had that great spread in Bear Weekly, or
yeah, I was
Gays of LA. What was it?
I got featured and interviewed for Bear World magazine, so you can check that out.
It was a very cute spread.
Yeah, and I just have some shows coming up.
That.
It was cool. It was very cute. Yeah, you can find it on my Instagram at Joseph Schles, link in bio. And yeah, I think next year, me and my friend Erica Dawson, who's another great comedian, are going to start producing a show in San Diego.
Oh wow!
It's going to be featuring obviously queer and women comedians, and it's going to be called Masculine Straight Men.
Amazing.
We just thought that was funny. And and yeah, I don't know. Yeah, follow me online. It really helps. Comment on my stuff. I get all of these guys because sometimes I'll post like racy pictures. I'm trying to be like sexy out there.
I do know.
Some little traps
for all the bear
thirst traps.
Yeah, bears and bear lovers. And I'll post these things, and then I get all these DMs from guys, and I'm like, "Thank you for the DMs, but could you comment this publicly? I need people to see that I'm cool."
No, they can't because these are closeted men coming at you.
Maybe so, but I'm like,
can't.
I'm gonna stop responding to DMs. I'm gonna be like, only DM me after you've commented publicly on one of my posts. But anyway.
Yes, you screenshot it, and that's how you can slide into a DM.
Exactly. But yeah, I don't know. Find me online and check out my Bear World magazine, and
Oh, I love it.
We'll see what's coming up. Happy holidays, everybody.
Awesome. Yes, happy holidays. We're so close. I'm sure we're in the middle of Hanukkah or something.
Please don't get murdered.
Don't get murdered. Don't be around kids. I think that's
yet another example of why not to have kids.
Yes.
Don't.
My God.
So rarely turns out good for anybody.
Like, subscribe, download, or whatever the kids are saying. And join us next week for another episode of Criminal Gines.
I think.
Oh
my God.
Best day ever.